Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. We're going to try covering 8 sales objections. I'm trying to give you as much benefit as possible, so stay until the end. Trust me, it's going to be good. Number 1 sales objection: we don't have enough money. We don't have enough budget. Well, how do you deal with that? See, firstly, you need to understand where is the pain point for the client. What's going wrong? See, if you're a service provider trying to provide a service, you need to understand how that service is going to benefit the customer, how it benefits the customer, what's going wrong for them. Once you understand that, what's going wrong for them, you need to start asking them questions about how what is going wrong is impacting your business. And by taking on your service, it's going to increase or better your business or bring some productivity or whatever it is, bring some benefit. And because it's going to bring that benefit, obviously you're going to make more money. You need to understand the pain point, what's going wrong with the business, how you can give the solution, and how your service is going to increase their productivity and therefore money. The second sales objection: they don't trust you. See, if they don't trust you, they're not going to want to buy from you, and people buy from the people they trust. And so sometimes you have to keep in touch with the client. Ask them about how things are. Ask them whether they've been on holiday. Build that trust, build that relationship, and people do buy from the people they trust. And so speaking to the client over a longer period and then offering your service definitely works. Having said that, if you want to close them as quick as possible, offer them a trial period. Offer them something that they will be extremely pleased with that no one else will. Offer them something which actually puts you ahead of people, and that will increase the trust barrier. The third sales objection: the client says, we already have someone providing that service, or we already have someone doing exactly what you're offering. Well, in that instance, you need to put yourself ahead of that person. How? Understand what is that company doing right now and how can they improve. So I would ask a question. I would say, fantastic, not a problem. Let me just understand, for my own understanding, if this company could improve on one part of the business or one part of the service, what would that be? And maybe you don't mention that point there and then, but you can mention it after. You can mention it on another call. Though if you do mention it there and then, you could say something like, that is something that we focus on. That is something that we do. And so if you're having that issue currently, we will try to resolve that. Number 4 sales objection: I need to ask a director, or I need to ask the manager. At that point, you need to ask yourself, does this person actually have authority to deal with what you're saying, or is it possible that they're fobbing it off? At that point, you want to ask them, if we can resolve the issue that you have right now, if we can do it at a good, timely manner, and if we can do it at a good price, is there any reason why your manager or your director would say no? It's very important for you to ask that question, because that's when you understand what the issue is and where the problems are, to why this client might not be agreeing to sign the agreement. Number 5 sales objection: there's no need for this right now, or we don't need your service right now. At that point, you want to ask open-ended questions and understand from the client where the needs are, where the issues are, and then give the solution. See, understanding where the pain points and the problems, those are the key parts on closing the client. If now they have a lack of need and they don't really need your service, then you need to explain to them why dealing with this issue now is better than dealing with it 3 months later when the issue might be much bigger. But the only way you can do that is by emphasizing the issue they currently have and then giving them the solution that you can provide. Number 6 sales objection: a contract. The client doesn't want to agree a contract which ties them in, and the client doesn't want to agree something which, well, could be a nuisance later on. If you want to make the process easy for them to cancel, that's completely up to you. But if you don't want to make it easy for them, you need to say something along the lines of, I need to know, as the one who is providing a service to you, that we are agreeing something for the long term. I want to be able to treat you as a long-term client, and therefore put the right resources and the right time on your company. But the only way I can really ensure I do that as a business decision is if we agree to something long term. You need to make it make sense for the client why they should agree to something long term over a shorter period, because obviously if they agree to something longer, then you're going to do your utter best in providing a better service to your longer term clients. A competitor is cheaper. Now, sales objection number 7: a competitor is cheaper. Now, this comes up a lot. Sometimes it's a case of they're just trying to get a better deal, and sometimes it is actually because the competitor is cheaper. What you need to do is find out what the competitor could be doing better. Once you understand what the competitor could be doing better, that is what's going to help you close this client on the price that you want to agree with them, because you're going to emphasize why what they need to do better, if they don't do it better, it's costing that client more money. If it's costing them more money, if it's affecting their business, you're coming in charging more money and cutting that issue and cutting that service away. And again, as a service provider, you need to emphasize you are charging this amount so you can put the right resources to the company and make sure they're getting the best service, because you get what you pay for. And sales objection number 8: sometimes What the client is saying isn't even the sales objection. You need to ask open-ended questions. You need to re-emphasize the point that you are trying to provide a service and you understand that the client might have some issues right now that you're trying to resolve. But you have to understand whether those problems are even the problems, and so you need to ask questions. Questions like, what is stopping you signing on the dotted line? If we did X, X, and X, would that mean that you would be happy to go ahead with the service? I need to understand what we can improve on and where the question marks are so I can help solve them. So where's the issues? Where's the questions? I need to help come up with a solution. Unless you ask the client, you're never going to be able to close the client. So remember, the only way you can close the client and get them to agree with what you're saying is by understanding how and where you can help them. That's all from me. Barakallahu feek. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.